Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we're gonna talk about one of my favorite countries, which is Croatia. We're gonna talk about 7 things you should know before moving to Croatia. We're gonna cover the following topics: taxes, Croatia and its relation to the Schengen area, Croatia and its currency, the kuna, and its relation to the euro, Croatian bureaucracy, which is still a relatively big problem in Croatia, then real estate in Croatia, finally moving to visa and residence permits, probably the topic which most people are interested in, and then business opportunities in Croatia. Before we start with the actual content, I have to say this like always, which is, if you want to travel, move, or invest abroad, hit the like button, check our other videos, book a consultation call with me, the link is in the description, and most importantly, the most important thing of them all, subscribe! Let's start! Talking about Croatia and moving to Croatia also means talking about taxes. If you spend more than 6 months a year in Croatia, you become a tax resident in Croatia, and your worldwide income will be taxed in Croatia. Croatia has lower than average taxes than in most countries in the European Union, so in the sense of taxes, living in Croatia is better than living in most Western European countries such as the UK, France, Italy, Spain or Germany, and the others, most of them, almost all of them in Western Europe. Capital gains are low in Croatia, currently at a rate of 10%, which can be great if you're a stock investor or if you want to invest in real estate in Croatia or abroad. This, in my opinion, is the best advantage of the Croatian tax system currently. If you want to work as a freelancer or if you work remotely for companies abroad, the situation is also favorable. There is an option to become a paušalni obrt, which is good for freelancers, with a very low relative overall tax income, as well as social contributions, roughly at a rate of 15%, including both contributions and income tax. The highest bracket of personal income tax in Croatia is currently 30%, much lower than some countries in the region like Slovenia, where the highest bracket is 50%. The same applies to Austria, for example. Now we're gonna talk about the relation between Schengen and Croatia. Croatia is currently a member of the European Union, but it is still not a member of the Schengen free movement area. That means, in other words, that all passengers must go through immigration when arriving or leaving Croatia. There are advantages and disadvantages to that. The disadvantage is that you will always waste more time when entering or leaving the country, regardless if you are driving, riding the train or flying. The advantage, on the other hand, is that if you are a non-EU citizen coming from a visa-exempt country, such as the US, Canada, Australia, Japan, Israel and many other countries, you have 90 days to stay in the Schengen area as usual, but also more 90 days to stay in Croatia. So if you want to stay 6 months visa-free in Europe, the fact that Croatia is not in the Schengen area works to your advantage. Then we move on to talk about the situation of the Croatian currency. Croatia is one of the few countries in the European Union which does not use the euro as its currency. The process for the country to join the Eurozone currency is advancing, and I believe that Croatia will join the euro in the next few years, although there is no official date for that. Croatia currently has its own currency, which is called the kuna, which is pegged to the euro, so it is a pretty stable currency with low interest rates and also low inflation. However, the support for joining the euro as its currency has decreased in Croatia over the past years, as many fear that this will result in more expensive goods and services, with not necessarily higher salaries, as it has happened in many other countries in the European Union which joined the euro currency. Now let's talk about the Croatian bureaucracy, which is a very high problem in the country. The level of bureaucracy is one of the huge disadvantages of Croatia. Getting anything done, both at an individual level or a corporate level, is usually a long, burdensome process with many steps involved, which are quite redundant in many cases. It is pure bureaucracy. The good news is that the level of bureaucracy is slowly changing, and a number of processes can now be done online. Compared to the Croatian bureaucracy of 5 years ago, let's say, things have improved sharply. However, some tasks of life in Croatia are still quite bureaucratic, although that is not an exclusivity of Croatia, with most countries in the region also having similar standards. Two good examples in which Croatia has a high level of bureaucracy are building permits and also getting a residence permit. Talking about building permits, we move to real estate. Real estate in Croatia can be divided in basically three price categories. The first category encompasses real estate at the seaside. That include all major cities on the Croatian coast, such as Split, Dubrovnik, Zadar, Rijeka, Pula, as well as smaller towns at the seaside. This is the most expensive place to buy real estate in Croatia. The second category is Zagreb and its suburbs, which is also the second most expensive place to buy property in Croatia. But prices are already much cheaper than places like Split or Dubrovnik, but they are comparable to some places at the seaside, such as Rijeka. The third category applies to everywhere else in the country, which is neither at the seaside nor in Zagreb. Property prices in those areas are extremely affordable, and you will be even able to find houses as cheap as 10,000 euros, especially if you consider, for example, Slavonia, which is in the east of Croatia. Then one of the most important aspects of life in Croatia is getting a visa and a residence permit. I already made a video about that, so if you want to check that, please serve yourself. Visa and residence permits are one of the most critical categories if you are planning to move to Croatia. If you are an EU citizen, there is no problem. You can just come to Croatia and register your stay. However, if you are not an EU citizen, Croatia is one of the most difficult countries in Central and Eastern Europe to get a residence permit. That is especially the case if you are coming independently without a job offer, for example, or if you're not a student. Residence permits in Croatia are less flexible than even a number of Western European countries, such as Italy, Portugal, and Spain. There are no continuous residence permits for freelancers, retirees, or anyone with sufficient means to stay in the country. That is one of the biggest problems currently with the Croatian immigration law. There are some residence permit categories for people like digital nomads, or if you want to just spend 1 year in Croatia as a passive resident. But the problem is that they are not renewable. There is also the category for people that own real estate in Croatia, in which you can get a residence permit to stay in the country, but not during all year. So you have to leave the country for a number of months, and then you can come back and renew it again. But you can't stay in the country all year, even if you own a house in Croatia if you're not an EU citizen. The last category are business opportunities in Croatia. The GDP of Croatia is heavily dependent on tourism, at around 20% of the GDP. So if you want to do business in Croatia, one of the best options is to invest in tourism. Activities such as rental cars, all types of stay including Airbnbs, hostels or hotels. And finally also other types of hospitality business such as coffee bars and restaurants. Croatia is also a great place if you work online, as I have mentioned before. Income taxes in the country are very favorable. Being Croatia an EU member, it is relatively easy to work with companies from all of the bloc. Croatia is also a great place if you work remotely as a service provider, such as a designer, software developer, content creator, or even to base your company selling products online. May they be digital products as well as physical products. But if they are physical products, you can either serve the domestic market or have the fulfillment done from outside Croatia, since logistics are not that good in Croatia if you compare it to Germany or Netherlands or the UK. Anyway, that was it for Croatia. If you want to move to Croatia, leave a comment below, contact me for a consultation call, and as always, if you want to travel, move or invest abroad, hit the like button, check our other videos, and most importantly, subscribe! See you next time!